My best friend slept with my husband, and now she's naming her baby after him. I never thought I'd be the person writing a story like this. You know, the kind where the people you trust most turn into the people who hurt you the most. But here I am. I'm 34 years old, married for 8 years to a man I thought was my soulmate, and my best friend of 15 years just shattered everything. Sarah and I met in college. From the very first day, it was like we'd known each other forever. We were inseparable, studying, crying over bad breakups, cheering each other on for every promotion and milestone. She was more than a friend. She was my sister. When I started dating Mark during our senior year, Sarah was one of the first people I told. She was happy for me, supportive. She even helped me pick out my engagement ring a few years later. At our wedding, Sarah was the maid of honor. The speech she gave still makes me tear up. Watching them together, you just know they're meant to be. They're like two halves of a whole. Mark and I built a life together. A home, a golden retriever named Milo, Sunday brunches, holidays with my family. I won't lie. Like any marriage, we had our ups and downs. But I always thought those struggles were normal, expected. Sarah was there every step of the way, offering advice, lending a shoulder, planning surprise date nights with me and Mark. We joked that the three of us were like a little family. I wish I could say I saw the first red flags, but I didn't. When Sarah started getting distant, I thought it was just stress from work. When Mark started coming home later, I blamed overtime. When I noticed texts from an unknown number on his phone, I convinced myself it was a work contact. I was wrong. It was a Saturday evening. I was out of town on a business trip, my first alone trip in years. Mark said he was staying home to watch Milo and catch up on work. When I called him at 9 p.m., he didn't answer. When I texted, he read but didn't reply. By 11 p.m., my gut was screaming. I booked the earliest flight home the next morning. I walked into our house at 7 a.m. Mark wasn't there, but Sarah was, on our couch, with her legs curled up in a way I remembered from 1,000 nights of binge-watching TV shows. Only this time, she looked exhausted, almost ashamed. And then I saw it, the positive pregnancy test in her hand. I don't remember much about what I said. Shock, rage, disbelief, betrayal, all swirling into one incoherent scream. Sarah tried to explain, said it just happened, said she was sorry, said she didn't know how to tell me. Mark finally came home. He looked at me like I was the enemy, like I had just ruined everything. Mark left that day, moved out, stopped answering my calls. Sarah, well, she stayed. She said she needed my support. She said she was scared of raising a child alone. It's been 3 months. Sarah is still pregnant. She's already picked a name. Mark's name. Our child's middle name. And I'm left to pick up the pieces of my life. Update. After the storm came the silence. Or at least, that's what I thought it would be. But silence was the last thing I got. Family reactions. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The moment I told my family, their reactions were complicated. My parents were heartbroken. My mom cried for days. My dad was quiet but kept asking if I was okay, if I needed anything. But the people I expected to have my back were less predictable. Sarah's family basically ignored the whole thing. Her mom, who used to adore me, suddenly became neutral, like she was tiptoeing around a minefield. And Mark's family? Well, they're divided. His mom sent me a text saying she was praying for us, but also asked if maybe we should all just move on. His dad didn't answer any calls. The hardest blow? Some of our mutual friends took Sarah's side. They said things like, "It was a mistake, it happens. You two had problems. Maybe it was meant to be." It felt like I was standing alone on a sinking ship. The people I thought I'd known forever suddenly felt like strangers. The betrayal was one thing, but living with it every day, that's a whole other kind of torture. I'd wake up, and the first thought would hit me like a punch to the stomach. They slept together. She's carrying his child. I found it hard to eat, to sleep, to concentrate at work. I stopped going to the gym, stopped talking to anyone outside of family. I felt like I was drowning in grief and anger. Eventually, I realized I needed help. I started seeing a therapist. We worked through the shock, the loss, the betrayal. She helped me understand that the pain I was feeling wasn't weakness. It was survival. Mark barely acknowledged the pregnancy. At first, he was cold, distant. He refused to talk about what happened or about his future with Sarah. I don't know if he's running from responsibility or guilt, but his silence hurt as much as the betrayal. Sarah announced her pregnancy on social media. The post was almost cruel. A glowing photo of her belly with the caption, "Excited for this new chapter. Baby name coming soon." Comments flooded in, some supportive, some accusatory. I stayed silent, at least publicly. When Sarah told me she was naming the baby after Mark, I felt something break inside me. It was like she was erasing me. Our history, our marriage, our family, the thought of a child, half mine, half his, bearing his name, but growing up without me was unbearable. Thankfully, Michael, a co-worker I barely knew before the crisis, became a lifeline. He listened without judgment. He checked in on me. He reminded me I wasn't alone. Sometimes, strangers become the family we choose. I'm trying to figure out how to move forward. Do I forgive? Do I cut ties completely? Can I ever trust again? For now, the answers feel far away. But I'm here telling my story. Because maybe, just maybe, it helps someone else feel less alone. The cracks I tried to ignore became cracks I couldn't look away from. I knew a confrontation was coming. It was inevitable. I invited Sarah to a quiet cafe, the place where we once shared secrets and dreams. I didn't want to yell. I wanted answers. She showed up late, tired but calm. The moment I saw her face, I realized this wasn't the girl I knew. We sat across from each other. The table a chasm filled with years of friendship and fresh wounds. I started. "How could you do this to me?" She looked down. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you." "But you did." Her voice cracked. "I didn't plan this. It just happened." With my husband, the silence was suffocating. After that meeting, I tried to reach out to Mark again. He refused to meet, sent me cold texts about moving on and not dragging this out. It was like he was trying to erase me from his life. But I refused to disappear quietly. Both our families kept pressuring me to forgive and keep the peace for the sake of the baby. But this wasn't about a baby anymore. It was about trust shattered. I told him forgiveness takes time. One night, my brother called. He'd heard rumors about Sarah. Apparently, she'd been telling people I was a bad friend and that Mark and I were already on the rocks. Hearing her lies hurt, but it also made me realize how little control I had over their narrative. I started opening up to a close circle, sharing the raw truth with friends who believed me. It wasn't easy, but slowly I started reclaiming my story. The hardest part came when I realized some relationships were toxic beyond repair. Sarah wanted to stay friends. Mark wanted a fresh start, but I needed to choose me. I told Sarah I couldn't be part of her life anymore. I told Mark I was done fighting for a man who didn't fight for me. It was liberating and terrifying. The future is uncertain. But for the first time in months, I feel a flicker of hope. Maybe this pain is a beginning. Update. The hardest part isn't the betrayal itself. It's what comes after. After cutting ties with Sarah and Mark, I was left with a void, painful, but also necessary. I dedicated time to therapy, journaling, and rediscovering the parts of myself I'd buried. It wasn't a linear path. Some days were good. Others, I felt like I was drowning. One of the biggest challenges was learning to trust myself again. For years, I had doubted my instincts, blamed myself for their actions. Now, I'm learning that the fault was never mine. I started reconnecting with old friends and making new ones. It surprised me how many people had been through similar betrayals. Sharing stories helped me feel less alone. Remember Michael? The co-worker who was there when I needed support? Our friendship deepened. He showed me kindness without expectation. Eventually, that friendship blossomed into something more. Sarah gave birth a few weeks ago. She posted pictures with the baby's name, including Mark's. It still stings, but I'm learning to focus on what I can control. My healing, my peace. I'm not sure if I'll ever forgive Sarah or Mark fully, but I am learning to forgive myself. To let go of bitterness that only chained me down. I'm not over it, but I'm moving forward. I'm setting new boundaries. I'm rebuilding my life on my terms. Starting over isn't easy, but sometimes it's necessary. Michael wasn't just a co-worker anymore. He was becoming my anchor. He never rushed me, never pressured me to move on. He listened when I cried, laughed with me on better days. Slowly, I realized I was falling for him, navigating new love with old wounds. Opening my heart again felt risky. I'd been burned once. Twice, really, by Mark and Sarah. But Michael was patient. He understood my triggers. And he was steady. One evening, I told Michael about everything. The betrayal, the pain, the baby named after my ex. He held me and said, "You deserve a love that doesn't come with scars." It wasn't about forgetting Mark. It was about building something new. Just when I thought I could breathe, Sarah resurfaced. She sent me messages, some apologies, some demands for closure. I didn't respond. Her attempts only confirmed what I already knew. Some bridges are meant to be burned. Mark finally contacted me regarding finances and custody issues. The baby wasn't my child, so legally there was no claim. But Mark wanted to discuss property and assets. It was awkward. He seemed detached. I held my ground. My family rallied around me. My parents helped with legal advice. My brother and friends were my emotional backbone. I wasn't alone anymore. I started hiking, painting again, and volunteering. Simple joys brought light back. Michael joined me in these moments, making them sweeter. I never thought I'd be here. Stronger, wiser, ready for what's next. This is the last time I'll write about this. Not because the pain is gone, but because it no longer owns me. About a month ago, Sarah emailed me again. Subject line, "Please read for closure." I almost deleted it without opening it. But curiosity got the better of me. She wrote a long message, apologetic, rambling. She said she missed me, that being a mother had made her reflect on her own decisions, that she didn't expect forgiveness, only understanding. And then she wrote this. I named him after Mark because I thought I loved him. I realized now I was just clinging to something broken. You were the best person in both our lives. And we destroyed that. It didn't make me cry. It didn't make me angry. It just confirmed what I already knew. Mark never apologized. Not once. We finalized the paperwork a few weeks back. Finances, property division, the last threads of the life we once shared. He was clinical, cordial, cold, and yet, during the last meeting, he said, "I hope you're doing okay. You look good." I smiled. I am okay. I'm doing better than okay. That was the end of it. He walked out, and it didn't break me. Michael and I aren't rushing anything. We still live in separate places. We've talked about the future, not with rose-colored glasses, but with cautious optimism. He doesn't try to fix me. He just sees me, and in every small gesture, bringing me coffee, listening without interrupting, leaving me space when I need it, I feel something I never did with Mark. Safety. Not butterflies. Not sparks. Peace. There's one more piece I've kept tucked away. A letter I wrote to my younger self. Maybe it's silly, but it helped. Dear me, you didn't deserve what happened. You loved deeply and honestly. You gave your best. You didn't fail. They did. I'm proud of you. For leaving, for surviving, for waking up every day and choosing yourself. You are not broken. You are becoming. And you are enough. Always. A few weeks ago, I walked past a cafe where Sarah and I had our first major confrontation. I stood outside for a moment, thought about all the versions of me that had walked through those doors. The girl who believed in forever friendships. The wife who ignored red flags. The woman who chose healing over revenge. I didn't go inside. I just kept walking. And now I work a job I love. I have friends who don't gossip behind my back. I have family I can lean on without shame. And I have a partner who shows up every single day. Will I ever forget? No. But I no longer feel like I have to carry the weight of that betrayal like a scarlet letter. It happened. It hurt. And I healed. Not all at once, but piece by piece.